I do that during 7 years in the first time, and after 7 years to try to decoding all the hieroglyphic signs in Hausa. After 7 years, I totally after 7 years I totally end the decoding in all hieroglyphic signs in Hausa, and I understand that really the ancient language of Egyptian and the ancient writing of Egyptian were Hausa. So I can say that since I decode I since I decoding the hieroglyphic signs in Hausa, I have the key. I have the key to understand the civilization and the history of the Egypt. From this decoding that I made in Hausa, from this decoding, I understand that all the text, all the Egyptian text talk about one pyramid. One pyramid. Not the three pyramids that we know in Egypt, but the text related and history that they live about one pyramid in Zinder. So this pyramid, according to the text, the ancient Egyptian text, this pyramid was located, they say, in Tambaki at Zinder. They related often Tambaki there is a pyramid at Tambaki on the text. Often they related this pyramid. So I am in Niger. I work for the government in Niger, but I never know what is. I never know where is located this village of Tambaki. I don't know. I am in Niger, but I don't know. It is like you live in USA, but you don't know every village or every town in USA. There is some town that you don't know, but exist in USA. Donc it is the same when I see Tambaki on the text related by the ancient Egyptian. So I try to find this village in Niger. So in 2012, I'm going to Zinder. When I go to Zinder, I ask to the villages where is located the village of Tambaki. So I try to ask this question to the villages where old. So when I come to Zinder, they say me that there is one village not far from Zinder who names Tambaki. So I can go to see if it is the village that I want to see. So I go to this village. When I come to Tambaki, the pyramid of Zinder, the pyramid of Tambaki is okay. I see the pyramid. When I come, I see the pyramid, I say that is the pyramid that they related on the ancient text of Egypt. So this pyramid that you see is different to the pyramid of Egypt. Why not? The three pyramids that you know in Egypt are not, they are the pyramid, but you must understand one thing that the scientific don't know or doesn't explain. The three pyramids in Egypt are the tomb. They are the tomb, and the civilization that were developed in Egypt, in actual Egypt, on the first time, it isn't on the first time. It isn't is a real civilization, because the area that you see on the Egypt and the archaeological site that you see on Egypt is a gigantic, I can tell that it is a gigantic cemetery. It is the cemetery of our ancestors. But on the first time, there is no civilization. The true civilization that the first Egyptians have lived are lived in Zinder around this pyramid. And it is not the only pyramid, there are two pyramids that the relative on the hieroglyphic text. No? So there are two pyramids, and their civilization will take place at Tambaki on the first time, relative on the text that I decoded in Hausa. So now, after this civilization were completely destroyed by the water, I mean, some scientific can say it is during the Gold Age, after the deluge. Some scientific can understand it, but I see on the hieroglyphic text, I see on the text that this first civilization was destroyed by the water. So before this civilization was completely destroyed, they take all what I can say, they take the gigantic boat. They built gigantic boats, and they're coming back. They come back. They go to Egypt. From Zinder, they across the water, because in this time there is water from Zinder to Egypt. So they take the gigantic boat, and then they go to Egypt. Before to go to Egypt, and they built the civilization around the Lake Chad. Lake Chad, how you name Lake Chad in English?
You say with this boat, you're saying, right? What did it do? We know it went to Egypt.
Yes.
There was a vast waterway between the West Africa and the East Africa.
When they left Zinder, they go to the north.
Yes.
So in the first time, and they stay on Lake Chad.
Latitude, longitude,
No.
No,
Lake Chad.
Chad.
Lake
Yes,
Chad.
around Lake Chad.
Oh, cool.
Around
Lake Chad. Okay, Lake Chad.
Exactly.
Okay, Lake Chad.
yes,
Okay.
Exactly. So from Lake Chad, they continue to Sudan, Nubia, and from Nubia they continue to the end to Egypt. Egypt is the end of this civilization. But before Egypt, they leave Zinder. From Zinder, they go to north. They stay on Lake Chad. From Lake Chad to Sudan, they continue, and they end. They landed to Egypt. That we know actually. So that is the way from the first civilization of Egyptian and the end of this civilization on Egypt. So that is the way. Okay? So my brother
Now,
try to explain
No, we got that. That was beautiful.
American English, because I don't
Yeah.
speak English.
Okay.
It's already been
American
established. It's already been established through the Catholic Astronaut Research Center.
Yeah.
Um,
So when he says first time, he's talking about Zep Tepe. He's saying the origin.
I'll explain what he means.
Okay.
We've already established, and some of you may already know who've done this research, there was a vast waterway between East Africa and West Africa. The whole Sudan is an ocean. And we know this because we find whale bones, we find fish bones, we find amphibian bones all through the Sudan. We see water erosion. Even the Great Sphinx has water erosion. Okay. So the fact that this vast waterway existed between East Africa and West Africa, through which there was, travel and communication, we know this from infrared imaging from outer space that sees this. The dust that we see, the dust storms that fly off the Sahara, that go all around the world, that's diatomaceous earth. That's diatomaceous earth that is being blown all around the world, and it fertilizes all the lands where it lands. That's where we get our fertilizer from down south, from wherever they have agriculture, from this wind, from this sandstorm that blows every year around the end of near the end of the year. All right, it's diatomaceous earth, so that again shows that this was a vast ocean at one time. So I'm just supporting what he's saying with regard that there was a communication, travel between East Africa and West Africa. A lot of people, they laugh at that concept because there's no connection between the Nile River and the Niger River. But in ancient times, there was a connection between East Africa and West Africa by a vast waterway. The other thing about that is that we also have DNA. This is how far I did my research. I did the DNA of the fish and the crocodiles between East Africa and West Africa and found that the East African crocodiles have West African DNA.
Wow.
That's all.
So there's a lot of scientific evidence to substantiate that this intercourse between the East and West did exist, and that we can see when we go through the caves of the Tibili Mountains, for instance, we see all these cave drawings of black Africans being displayed and their lifestyle and so forth and so on. So this is just to support the contention that he says with regard to the vast waterway. He speaks of the civilization that existed. Now we refer to it as the Great Flood from the Hebrew myth. Okay, but the text, the hieroglyphic text, does support the idea of a great deluge, and he speaks of the period that existed from the time of the deluge, just before and right after the time of the deluge, to the transmigration of the Egyptian civilization to where we understand it to be today. There are a lot of other parallels that I think that if we had the time, I don't know if we'll get into them, that you will begin to identify with, because you have a basic knowledge of some of these things through other sources of knowledge that you have, but which are corruptions of what we will find in the Egyptian text for years ago.
So another thing,